Hello everyone and welcome to round number 3 of the 2021 Memorial Championship presented by Discraft. Terry Miller, the disc golf guy, alongside Cynthia Ricciotti, and Cynthia, 2 rounds at Fountain Hills, and now we're moving over to Vista. And here you are on the lead card, ready for the action.
Yeah, I'm super excited.
All right, we got hole 1. What are you guys trying to do right away?
Well, there's a triple mando about 100 feet in front of the tee, so we got to get under that and punch it straight and let the hard pan slide up to the basket. Nice little starting hole.
Not too difficult, 285 feet, but the nerves have to kick in a little bit on hole 1,
Oh,
right?
for sure. Oh, for sure.
Valerie sits at 5 under. She's built a 4-stroke lead, and that's looks pretty good.
Yep. Throws it low, hits the mando. Great first drive to start the round.
And have you played with Ohn Scoggins before?
I have. I played with her at Ledgestone last year. She's a hoot.
She is definitely a lot of fun, very direct, and yet gets right to the point and mixes that with plenty of humor usually. Right up the middle. Good friend of yours, Hailey King.
Yep. I believe that's her stalker, her buzz, some straight.
Just trying to keep it low, like you said, playing the skip to the basket. What are you throwing here?
I believe that is a trespass. Sneaks up right over the mando. I joked, I was like, it's like a remote control. It's just like lifting it up right before. Had a re-tee right after.
And that one, you decide to flirt with the Mando line again.
Yeah, I threw the same disc, just different disc. Yeah.
A little bit different height there.
Yeah.
And there's Hailey. And if you're out of position here, I feel like you're really just, at best, going to be laying up.
Yes. It's a tough one to run, especially with the fast green and the slope on the backside.
Valerie's got to look at birdie, maybe just about circle's edge.
Yeah, you can see the wind's pumping pretty hard, as it will all around here at Vista.
What wind? All
No
right.
wind.
Yeah, no
Ate
wind
my
for
words
her.
there.
No. There's definitely wind, but that was a solid putt. Maybe carrying a little momentum from what she did in the previous 2 rounds. You guys were out at Fountain Hills, and just overall, what do you think about that course? Is it suit your game? Do you like it?
I love Fountain Hills. It was my first time playing for this event. It's just awesome property, and I love how much the community embraces disc golf there.
And now, after the work here, doing it on the Mando, you're going to be tapping in, so a little bit of a rough start to get things going. But first hole, 3rd round. See you guys all tapping in and getting moving.
Yep, rough start. Just told myself keep pushing through.
I was just going to say, are you worked up at that point? Do you get frustrated?
Sometimes, but it was the first hole. I try to keep a positive outlook if it's that early in the round.
All right, what are you doing on hole 2?
Hole 2 is just straightforward. You have the right side to contend with. The fence line is OB, so you want to punch something straight that's going to carry and get a nice little birdie look.
And you're predominantly a backhand player, or no?
Correct.
Yeah,
correct.
okay.
I do have a utility sidearm, but backhand for distance for sure.
I think I almost feel like that's what we could say of you and Ohn, whereas Hailey and Valerie probably rely on the forehand a little bit more than both of you.
Hailey, Ohn smashes forehands. She gets a nice flex out of them, and they go for days. I think you'll see a lot of forehands out of her this round.
Yeah, I was just totally misspeaking. That was my bogey. I know how good of a forehand thrower actually Ohn is. I don't know what I was talking about, but you see her. Now, the one downside for Ohn is she just doesn't probably have quite the power in her forehand that we see out of someone like Hailey, for instance.
Hailey definitely pushes it a little farther. They're going the same trespass out of me. Just kind of using the tailwind to my advantage and getting a safe drive out there after a rough start.
And now we saw you throw from the right side of the tee there, and we've talked about it in other rounds how if they provide a little whisker off to the right or the left of the tee, you can actually throw from that spot. So I'll just ask you, why are you opting to throw from the dirt as opposed to the tee, the cement tee.
Yeah, the pads at Vista, a lot of them are very slick, especially with the dust that surrounds them. If it gets windy, they just get super dusty, and some of them are a lot better to tee off from the side.
Who cares about where you're throwing from if you're making putts from that distance? Great birdie there by Hailey.
Yeah, she's been working on her spin putt, and she's like, okay, I'll do this, and steps up and throws it in.
Is she one of the most nonchalant, like laid-back golfers that we see out on tour?
Outwardly, yes. I mean, she's got a competitive mindset, but she's very laid back out on the course.
It's of course a huge finish last year in 2020 at the Pro Tour Championships, and we'll see how much of that carries forward. Valerie a little bit low. Ohn tapping in for the easy par. I will say it again. I feel like the 360s, the 370s, the 400-foot holes are ones that Ohn is not likely to put herself right next to the pin. She's a very good, solid, consistent player and thrower, but she doesn't have the power that some of you younger guns have.
For sure. I mean, she can pump it out that far, but in a kind of a tricky green like this, the access is very small. So you'll see her just consistently doing approaches and putts and making good that way.
Getting done on the short green. All right, hole number 3, what are you doing?
Hole number 3, you can either opt to go straight and let it flex, or you can go around that tree you just saw and kind of land somewhere near that concrete
culvert.
Yeah,
there we go.
Yeah.
that was the $500 question last round, so I'll throw that in there for you. Okay. And again, still that same hill, the same hill you see on 1, the same hill that obviously continues on 2, and it's the same one here on 3, playing along that right side. And okay, that's easy.
Yeah. She made that flex line look super easy.
And you see the number 14 on the tee pad. That's just for, again, everyone at home. If you were to come out and play this course almost any other time throughout the year, you would see it in a completely different configuration. This is what's known as the Vista XL layout, as that's continuing to roll. Oh my gosh. It's trying to find the OB. But yeah, the course actually sets up and plays very differently if you were to come out here on any other time. You wouldn't start right near Duke's, even though they're a great sponsor. You wouldn't start right near Duke's if you were playing this course on a regular weekday.
Yeah, there's a lot of locals out here at all given times playing disc golf when we're practicing, and it's a very busy course.
And there's the culvert you were thinking of. If you find yourself in there, that's actually out of bounds, so you were safe, but that is something you want to keep into consideration. Now, do you find yourself playing for the skips on a lot of these holes? Is that something you're learning as you go, as you just hit a little root or something there? But do you really anticipate skips out on these greens?
You learn to, yeah. That's something I paid attention to at Fountain Hills, and Arizona is very dry, not a lot of grass. So you definitely have to pay attention, or else you're going to put yourself out of position more time than not.
So this is Valerie to save her par. Off the top, and then a nasty wind kick. Yeah, I don't know what the term is for that, but that was not pleasant.
These elevated baskets are nasty when the wind picks up, for sure.
Look at, she's carried to at least 20, 22, 25 feet.
Yeah.
You can hear a little bit of the wind right now that you guys really started with.
She makes do.
Yeah, doing more work than you hope for a bogey.
Yeah, but she's got the goods to back it up for sure.
Great focus and concentration. I think that puts her back to even on the round. And what are you thinking to your to this elevator basket?
Oh God, please don't miss.
That doesn't sound very confident.
Well, the wind was blowing super hard, and it doesn't look like it, but these baskets are very high. You'll see that a lot throughout this course. more than normal
Yeah.
normal high baskets.
I think 6 out of the first 8 are raised baskets.
Something like that.
Yeah, 6 out of the first 7 or so. Wow, great putt.
Thank you. It's definitely a good one to get right after a rough start.
Build a little of that confidence. Here's Hailey for birdie.
Nasty spit out.
Yeah, just kind of slipped out on that right side.
But taps in for a par. No harm, no foul.
I could tell she was livid. I'm just kidding. You can't.
You can never tell.
No, that's exactly it. Owen's going to take care of some business there. All right, and then we're going to move over to hole 4. I believe it's got an elevated basket. Well, almost every hole does, but maybe it doesn't. I don't know. What are you trying to do, though?
Hole 4.
Yeah, with the big. Yeah, I apologize. You're not as familiar with the course as I have been after all these years.
Yeah.
But you got the wide wide around the pine route to the right. Then you got OB on the left, OB on the right, and then even actually OB deep of the basket.
Correct. My apologies.
Oh, no worries, no worries. Like I said, I think I've been coming here almost as long as you've been alive, so
Probably.
I'm old like that. I'm used to these courses. That's inside, just outside the circle.
Yeah, looks about like that. I'm sure she'll be pumping up another spin putt.
You see Ohn playing it out to that right side.
Yep, comes just before the tree, but skips up, and she'll probably have a circle 2 look for birdie.
You're going to play it wide. Does it have the stability?
Not so much. Kind of shanked that one, but
Okay.
should be looking for an approach around that tree.
And there's really 2 trains of thought. Like if you have a ton of power, you go out and around that pine tree and play the big hyzer, or you want to go just barely inside of it, but have it not finish too hard left to where the OB is. And we see, I think, 3 out of the 4 of you just scoot right inside of that pine tree.
Yeah.
Left
I mean,
with,
yeah, either way, the probability of you hitting that tree is pretty small, so if you have something stable enough, you come before that tree, it's just fine.
I think she thought she had it. It looked pretty good midway there.
Looked good from my angle. I was very surprised.
How many times have you and Hailey gone out and had competitive disc golf tournament rounds together?
Before this round, it wasn't a lot. We actually talked about that, and we couldn't even remember the last time. I think it was Ledgestone a couple years ago, so it's been a long time.
So it's a good putt to save your par. And I think about you guys traveling together and playing together and being friends and such, but not necessarily always finding yourselves on the same card. Any extra comfort or discomfort because of that?
Definitely extra comfort. It's nice having a friend, and we're always competitive no matter what we do, so keeps a light tone for the card.
No, as you say, no harm, no foul. We'll be back in a moment. I think we need bigger baskets, not smaller. But anyway, hole number 5. What's your play here to this elevated pin?
Hole number 5, the tree on your right you see is a Mando, so you have to pump something very straight to get to this elevated, once again, basket.
And then there's a left side Mando, actually, which hopefully doesn't come into play, but there is one on the left side. And then also, if you skip too far to the left, you could find the OB on the sidewalk.
Very guarded green in terms of manufactured OB.
It's about pin high. And maybe most importantly, she's got an open look at the basket.
Yep, that's very important for this putt, especially with the two trees in the back and the OB surrounding it. You don't want to put yourself in an uncomfortable position. And just right in the middle of the fairway. Yeah,
she got a little skip out. It looked like the wind really took advantage of that one. Do you recall what you're throwing here?
Looks like a trespass once again. Got Eric Oakley's face on it.
I'm sorry. So. You don't just turn and throw that into the water on purpose then, even with his face on it? Okay. Okay, I'm just throwing out ideas.
Just turns over super hard. Very uncharacteristic for that disc.
Wow, yeah, and you actually then had gotten past what would be the Mando tree. So from there, you'll go to a drop zone with penalty. And that's leaking the same way for Valerie. So the wind really pushing you guys left to right as you see the dust storm, the dust blow up there.
Yeah, it was super tough. Super tough with that Mando right there.
Not a bad position to be in, just right of the pin.
Taking my Makana and doing a nice little up shot, kind of leaked right. Again, that green is super fast.
Yeah, I was just going to say, same thing. The pro tip here, you're trying to throw it low and short of the pin and just play a little bit of a skip right up to the pin, and Valerie does the same.
Valerie goes actually under the basket and skips a whole lot of ways, so that was kind of an unlucky break.
Kept going for her.
Yeah.
Okay. Hailey to the elevated basket, just a bit short. I feel like it's really easy to be tentative anytime you're putting on this basket, because the last thing you want then is to place yourself behind one of those two trees, because if you get more than 10 or 15 feet away and those trees come into play and then you're throwing to an elevated pin, you're just asking for disaster.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like I said, getting on the right side of these trees and on the right side of the wind even is very detrimental to your score.
Yes, and Ohn able to clean up. She's got the easy par. Valerie still sits at that 5 under right now. Ohn at 1, Hailey at +1, and you're at +7.
Yeah, they were running away with this. Snuck right onto the lead car, but Val and Ohn, they're doing work out there at Fountain.
Oh, and that just kind of slides out. It sounded like a lot of chain.
Thought I had that one, Terry. Yeah.
Okay.
Ultimately my mistake, but
sure.
Yeah.
Well, it's not like you hit 2 links and it fell out. It sounded like you hit quite a few, but just off the mark, and unfortunately that's going to be a double bogey. That pushes you to +9. Solid putt. That'll be the bogey, which is really best case scenario once you've missed the Mando. Now, just a, I guess, frame of reference, yourself, Hailey, and Valerie, you guys are all within 2 or 3 years of each other in age. Isn't that right?
Correct. Valerie is almost 22, I believe, and Hailey's 19 and I'm 18. So very close. All young.
Some young guns out there. And Ohn, I heard her talking about some other age divisions, and I won't bust her out, but clearly out here and super competitive as we head to the first par 4, 783 feet. There's a lot of work to do on this one.
A lot of work to do. There's a lot of trees down the middle of the fairway that can alter your shots. You might have to go over them or hang a sidearm off to the left. This hyzer play is a very popular. It's a very safe play.
Yeah, if you can, and I feel like she executed it perfectly. You're worried there is OB on the right side. There's also OB on that left side, and so that hyzer play is just a good, safe, smart, conservative play right in the middle. Ohn is pushing left, and if that just skips up and finishes, also perfect placement.
Perfect placement. That was a great sidearm out of Ohn. Another thing to note is that off that right side, there's about 30 feet, and then the OB line starts, so it's not like you can hang it too close to that right side, which makes this shot even more scary.
Yeah, a little bit more daunting for you. So you're talking about that right side. Let's see how stable it is. Yeah, that's going to be a good shot as well. Now, you might have a tree or two to contend with in terms of the approach, but off the tee, yeah, that looks like it put you in a perfectly fine spot.
Yeah, I was happy with it. Taking a lucid X Escape, low drive with a tailwind, just not a good recipe.
You needed it up a little bit higher, right?
Yes.
Yep. And now we'll see how Hailey does. She's able to go with another hyzer. She's asking for it to get up.
Just a smash. That is way down there.
Yeah, out of all the competitors in this field, she's got the longest arm. Is that a fair statement on this particular weekend?
That would be fair. She's been tweaking her form and was very happy with how her form looked and how far she was driving, practicing for this event. So you're going to see some bombs out of her this round.
Low, smooth, consistent. Yeah, Ohn left side fairway, and she'll maybe most importantly, yeah, of course she's short of the pin, but she'll have a pretty easy look at it from where she is on that left side.
Yep, she'll get to lean on her sidearm even more. I'm going way high. I had some trees right in front of me, and it doesn't look like it went very far, but that was very high in the air, Terry.
Sometimes when gravity's doing the work over there, it stresses you out. But no, that looked like a good shot, keeping it in the fairway. Valerie, great shot as well. Interesting to see. Ohn's got options. She could go forehand or backhand, and this time she goes with the backhand, and it looks to be pretty effective.
Yeah, I know she loves approaching with her destroyers, even from close range, and she's very accurate.
Pitch up there by Hailey. Now here you are. You're going to a forehand. What's your comfort level on forehands approaches?
Normally, I forehand harps and verdicts, so not a very power forehand player, but I'm normally pretty consistent with like putter approaches.
Yeah, and that one looked really good, just to the right, about pin high.
Hailey just laying up.
Yeah, when you have those trees hanging there, there's not much you can do sometimes.
Yeah, especially with this elevated pin. I'm tapping up for par.
Yeah, 783 feet later, she's done exactly what you can do. A couple great placement shots, get up there, make the putt, and she's going to take the long walk to 7.
Val with about a 20-footer looking up in the wind at that elevated pin. Very nerve-wracking, I assume.
Yeah, and the wind may have caught it and pushed it up just a little bit. I think as an editorial note, I'll let everyone know, I did, in fact, I think, turn down the on-course audio for all of this round because the wind was so loud. It was busting through all of the microphones and the dead cats, as we call them, and everything else to dampen the wind. I still had to turn it down so it wasn't blaring throughout. So you guys were playing in some pretty nasty winds out there. You had a great par. Valerie is going to take the bogey, and see the bogey by Hailey. So we're done with a third of the course. And now, because it's the XL layout, we actually do take a very long walk. Anything you're thinking about when you take that walk over to hole 7?
I mean, just to try to keep a level head. I mean, the next few holes are going to be very tough. So, obviously, keeping a good mindset throughout is imperative.
Yeah, this middle third is very tough. This one, maybe not so much, but what are you trying to do on 7?
Hole 7, I'm just trying to bomb it out as far as I can, and then you have that Mando tree on the left right before the basket. So yeah, you'll see players leaning more on the right side so they can get a good angle for that second shot. Yeah,
you don't want to be stymied up to the left side of this fairway because then it's going to make your angle of approach that much more difficult. So if you can be on the right side, you're just going to be in a better position overall. As Hailey almost grabs metal on that light pole.
Yeah, I saw a couple people do that. It's very easy to do. It's just right there, right in the middle.
Yeah, if you hit that, you're in a world of hurt, and you're probably at best going to take a 4.
Val pinching herself off on the left side like we were talking about.
Now, of course, you can't just go anywhere to the right. There is a sidewalk that plays us out of bounds. And you're right over there by Val.
Yeah, pinched myself off.
You sure did. Push yourself over there. You see Val's off there. And now you're going overstable. And honestly, from where you were, that's the best possible, second shot you could have thrown, right?
Yeah, I was pretty happy with it. I threw a pretty overstable raider and got up there like Val is just about to do. Gets a nice skip. Sets herself up well for the par approach.
Ohn's playing it low. It turns and then does hook up at the end. Should be able to easily get up and down from there. Hailey, we'll see if she can take advantage of the power that she has.
Hanging it a little wide, but looks like she'll have a long look for birdie.
Yeah, this is one where Hailey specifically, I feel like, should pick up one on most of the field, every single time. If she throws 325 or 330, 330, she's right there at the basket. Not to say clearly a bunch of other women can't do that, but Hailey can do that even easier, I would say.
Yeah, she can kind of tap into her mid-range game and play a lot more safe than some other women have to.
Little mid right up to the pin there for Valerie, so I'm going to walk away with the par most likely. Ohn, maybe a little wider than she wanted.
Yeah, it looks like that Anheuser angle in the wind just grabbed her and took her for a little ride.
And Hailey actually draws metal. Another elevated pin.
It's almost like that's a trend here.
Like it's a thing. Are you thinking stop wind? Stop.
Yeah.
Just stop.
Yeah,
just
every
stop
time
for
you
like 2
see
seconds.
every time you see me reset like that, it's probably because the wind just picks up right when I don't want it to.
Yeah, and then it ultimately looks like it just kind of lifted up and over for you.
Yeah, that was a little frustrating, but
Do you feel like when you're putting in the wind, are you throwing it a little bit harder and then maybe the wind just kind of magnifies your mistake?
yeah, I mean, I always try to put more spin on it, especially in a headwind. Try to keep it lower, but with these elevated baskets, you can't really keep it low.
Exactly.
I mean, there's only so much you can do.
A little bit closer than the previous one. There you go.
Yeah, I was a little frustrated.
Yeah.
As one would be after taking a bogey like that. But looks like Ohn has about a 20-footer for par, I believe.
Yes, this is for her par.
Par, yeah. Just like Ohn does. Makes her putts.
Yeah, she hasn't done anything flashy, but right now, I think she's sitting 1 under on the round and just going out there and getting it done. She hasn't found any trouble either. She's remained completely bogey-free, and you and I both know that usually bogey-free usually means stress-free as well. Kind of
Absolutely.
keeps you in check.
Absolutely.
Like an assassin. Just spraying that thing down. All right. Thank you to Rickaroons, all of the supporters and sponsors, and the beautiful hole number 8.
Yep, a long walk to hole number 8. One of the most picturesque holes on the course, right over the water. If you do not cross in bounds, or if you do not land on that island, you do play from a drop zone on that right side. So I'm sure you'll see a lot of players go for it, and not a lot of layups. Layups very hard.
Yeah, that's the one thing about this hole is you think, well, I don't really feel comfortable going over it, but laying up to the little layup zone on that right side is not easy to do either.
No. It's funny because Ohn talked to us and she's like, "Are you guys going for it?" And we're all like, "I don't know." And she goes, "I don't think I will," and steps up and throws it past the basket.
Yeah, throws 30 feet past the pin. And the air stays under it, and that's a good shot. Not quite pin high, but a good shot by Hailey.
Yep, she'll have a nice birdie look from circle's edge.
It starts left. Is it going to turn for her? Or, and more importantly, is it going to find any land?
That's wild. Yeah, tough break. This pad also is very short, so it's not very long, but you don't have the run-up you need, especially for women.
Oh.
Yeah,
Did you get caught up on?
Yeah,
on,
my left foot got under the pad. I don't know how that happened, but I was able to stop myself. Luckily.
Well, with the temporary pad, it makes sense that there maybe somehow it just barely got pulled up there on you. So you're going with the low.
I opt for this layup, which I didn't practice, but it was a very tough wind on this hole, and so I'm like, I might as well.
Wow.
Might as well go for it.
No, and it looked like it was very successful. And from the drop zone, that's Valerie, and going pretty deep. So this shot's new to you as well then, because you didn't practice playing from the layup zone, huh?
Correct. So I flick to harp, and I'll take my easy three.
Easy peasy threesy. Valerie has work to do. Yeah,
Just slow. Just slow.
She's going to tap out. And I'm going to quickly thank Dustin and Dylan, who are out there hustling around, capturing 2 rounds a day so we could bring you some FPO and MPO coverage each and every day. Also, Gary to the O, who was working, burning the midnight oil as Hailey's just off the chains, but trying to get his edits done as much as we could as well. So thank you to them and all the sponsors. No, Ohn, who maybe she was just playing mind games with you guys. She's like, I don't think I'm gonna go for it. And then she's like, oh, here, let me just go 30 deep or 25 deep.
Yeah, I mean, she's always a fun person to have on the card. Very, very friendly. She's definitely very funny when it comes to things like that. Doesn't mind talking about shots and holes, which is cool.
Yeah, she's not bashful, I think is the best way I would put it. And she's so much fun as she makes the birdie. So that'll push her to 2 under overall.
And they taps in for her par again. No harm, no foul, but it's definitely tough to hit a bunch of metal and not stick for a few holes.
As I mentioned, Duke Sports Bar and Grill. And now we go right over to hole 9. This is a slightly different tee than what the MPO division plays from. You're basically already down below the gunite, and you're throwing straight at it 324. It's not exactly easy, though.
It's not easy, but it's a pretty routine hyzer for most players. Probably taking a fairway, or Hailey might even opt for a mid. Not sure what this is out of her, but seems pretty perfect, so I think she knows what she's doing.
Yeah, that'll work. Now, of course, the one thing you got to play for, if it skips too much or has too much angle, you can find yourself in the lake on the left, or if you turn something over, there's still that sidewalk that comes into play on the right.
Yep. I took my Lucidex Escape, and usually it's a little more beefy than that, but
oh no,
found a out of bounds long, like we were talking about.
Yeah, there's that sidewalk, so that's going to be out of bounds. You get to take it from where you were last in there. I like the line if that stops.
She's got a nasty skip, and fortunately it is out of bounds.
Routine for Ohn. She's going to be right underneath it. Valerie confirms it's her. So she brings it in the 1 meter after going out of bounds. This is to save her 3.
Just low.
And now, are you even thinking that you need to save the 3 here, or are you just trying to put it next to the pin?
I'm just trying to put it next to the pin.
Okay.
With that water behind it, it's very risky and not as much reward. Take my bogey and move on.
Yeah, you don't want to turn it into something so much worse. And Hailey can't convert, but I can say thank you to the guys over at First Light. I can say thank you to Discraft and all the gracious sponsors, the presenting sponsor. Cynthia, I'm going to say thank you to you again for joining me. First time we've done commentary together. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, it's been very fun. I love doing commentary.
Well, hopefully we'll see you in the back 9. We're going to take a quick look at the scores. Again, thank you to everyone. And also leave a comment along with a like, maybe even a subscription, whatever. Become a Patreon subscriber. I don't know. We got free stuff for you. So make sure you like, share, and comment. And right now, halfway through the round, Ohn sits at 2 under for the round, and her and Valerie are the only ones at par or better. And everyone else is getting eaten up by the early part of Vista. We'll see you guys for the back 9 of round number 3 at the 2021 Memorial Championships presented by Discraft.